So this is day 8 of the videos that I'm making to help raise awareness and understanding of PTSD, and today I'm going to be talking just a little bit about the changes to thoughts and emotions that can be part of PTSD. So the first thing is thinking about people's changes to people's thought patterns, and that can be around a kind of a preoccupation with what's happened, and sometimes a trying to find who's to blame, or a self-blame of it. If only I hadn't done this, or if only they hadn't done this, this wouldn't have happened, this awful thing wouldn't have happened. And part of that is the brain trying to think its way out of what's happened, or almost, if it can just get its thinking right, it can make it not have happened, which logically we know makes no sense. But there's that emotional element that's just saying this awful thing has happened, and how can I try to almost have it have not happened. So there can be a lot of preoccupation, and at the same time when we think about that event, it's really painful and it can trigger off flashbacks. So then you get this kind of push-pull of thinking about it and trying to avoid thinking about it all at the same time, and this how can I think my way out of what's going on. So you can get a lot of preoccupation around that. In terms of changes to mood and emotions, if we think about everything that I've talked about so far around flashbacks, nightmares, difficulties with concentration, difficulties with sleep, hypervigilance, always being on the lookout for danger, and feeling that the world is fundamentally unsafe, then it makes absolute sense that someone's going to have, a different kind of almost emotional climate, and changes to their mood. And part of that is because when we feel the world is unsafe and we're on the lookout for danger all the time, then our fight or flight system is really turned up to very sensitive. So our body is kind of always ready to either run away from danger or run towards it to try and overcome it. So we're more likely to have a lot of aggression or anger, frustration, anxiety. There can also be a lot of fear of people not quite knowing what's going on and it doesn't make sense, and feeling very anxious about all these different elements of PTSD, and so that then can lead into a sense of fear. And there can be a sadness of this awful thing has happened, and sometimes it has happened with life-changing consequences. So there can be sadness and grief in with that frustration and that anger of it has happened to me, why did it happen? So when we think about it like that, how could there not be changes to our emotions? And tomorrow I'm going to talk a little bit more about that in terms of disconnection and the disconnected part of PTSD that can come up. So I'll see you tomorrow.